Hi, we will discuss again about trigonometry. Now, trigonometry, it is derived from the Greek word, which means basically triangle and its measurement. So when we are talking about trigonometry, we are talking about the measurement of the triangles with regards to its angle. In this one, we are talking about the right triangle. The basic thing that we need to consider is to identify which side is the hypotenuse. So in this case, the side just across, as you can see in this diagram, I have created an arrow just across the 90-degree angle. So the side just across the 90-degree angle is called hypotenuse. Now what is hypotenuse? Hypotenuse means something to stretch. And when we stretch something in a right triangle, when we are stretching the line that is the longest line is called the hypotenuse. So when we are dealing with the trigonometry, the basic thing is you need to label everything, label all the sides. If you label all the concerned or all the required sides, then things becomes relatively fun and easy. There is a mnemonic that is often discussed to memorize the trig ratios, but let's understand what are the three basic trig ratios are. So the three trig ratios that we will be discussing today are sine, cosine, and tangent. In short, they are also written in this way. Sine, just understand this is sine. I have seen students calling it sin. It is not sin. We are not committing any sin. We are just writing a trig ratio which is called sine. This is written as cos and this is written as tan. So tangent. Now the mnemonic to understand these, they are based on the other two side lengths. We just talked about hypotenuse, but what about these two legs? To label these two legs, we need to understand what angle they are asking for. For example, let's take this bottom angle and they labeled it as theta. In trigonometry, you will find that the angles could be labeled as theta or phi. So they are just another way of representing the angle. So if the angle is right at the bottom, theta, what I can do, I can use the rule of hand. I will put my hand right here where I'm highlighting it. And if you can see, when I put my hand here where the angle theta is, my hand will touch two side lengths. One is, but obvious, is hypotenuse. The other side length that my hand will touch will be called adjacent. And finally, the side length that is just across theta that I am not able to touch, that is called the opposite side. Opposite means you're not able to touch. I can't touch. That is the main purpose of opposite. Opposite in adjacent means just next to you, right? So these sine, cosine, and tangent ratio, they are based on these concepts of hypotenuse, opposite, and adjacent. Which side length should I consider as opposite and which side length should I consider as adjacent? Hypotenuse will remain hypotenuse no matter what, but opposite and adjacent will change based on the angles. Now, going back to the mnemonic that we were trying to discuss, the mnemonic to understand these ratios is called SOH CAH TOA. SOH CAH TOA. You can repeat with me. SOH CAH TOA, SOH CAH TOA. Now, I can rewrite it in this way. Sine O over H. O means opposite. Cosine is CA over H. Cosine is adjacent in the numerator and hypotenuse in the denominator. And finally, I will rewrite it again. Don't worry about that. So, and tangent will be opposite over adjacent, right? So, can't check. This is opposite. So this is the basic mnemonic, SOH CAH TOA, and it is easy to understand. Sine defines these first, S, C, and T, right? These define the degree. That means the angle we are talking about. In this case, we are talking about theta. So we will write sine theta because that's what we are talking about, right? Now, the top one, these, they are nothing but numerator. As you can see, I have written all the middle terms in the numerator, all the middle terms. Let's highlight it in this way. These middle terms, they are in the numerator. And the last term, just like H, and A, they are nothing but the denominator. Now, there are certain rules which I will say as rules. If you follow these rules, it will be fun to solve trig ratios and it will be easier. Label, as I said again and again, label all the sides. Second, use process of elimination to decide which ratio to use. For example, if in a triangle they haven't provided you the hypotenuse. Let's take this example. So if I say let's change the color of the pen. Yeah. So this is theta, right? And they have given this as 6 and this as 8. They haven't given me anything about the hypotenuse. If I have to use SOH, which is sine, opposite over hypotenuse, or cosine, which is adjacent over hypotenuse, I need hypotenuse. But hypotenuse is not given to me. So the only option that is left with me is using tangent ratio. And I will say tangent theta is nothing but 6 over 8. That is what we are looking for. So if you follow these rules, label all the sides, use process of elimination, everything should be okay.